Hello and welcome to this HTML and CSS tutorial. This time we're going to be looking at the basic HTML structure of a web page. If you watched my previous video, you would have learnt that in a web page, HTML is responsible for the content on the page, so all the text and images that are there, and CSS is responsible for the styling of a web page, so the way that it looks, all the colors, the arrangement of the things in relation to each other. But today we're just focusing on HTML, and I'm going to show you the basic structure of an HTML web page. So the first thing we always type when we are creating an HTML web page is angle brackets, exclamation mark, doc type, HTML, closing angle brackets. Now what this is doing essentially is saying to the web browser, anything that follows after this tag here is going to be understood as HTML. So it's telling the browser to read this file as an HTML file. Now interestingly, this tag here, exclamation mark doc type, it's the only tag in HTML that we type in capitals. Everything else is always in lowercase. That's just a bit of trivia for you. So we've got our doc type HTML tag. We then need to create an opening HTML tag, and a few lines later a closing HTML tag. So the opening tag is angle bracket, HTML, closing angle bracket. And then the closing tag is angle bracket slash HTML, closing angle bracket. And everything that's between these two tags will be what's read as HTML. So we need to include everything pretty much between these two. Now we can break up our HTML a little bit further into two more sets of tags. The first is a head tag. So opening head and then closing head. And then we can also add a body tag. So opening body, and then a few lines later, closing body. Now the reason that we do this is it's good to separate the content that's visible on the page, and we put that into the body, versus the content that we don't really see on the page, and put that into the head. So all the stuff here in the head will be read first, and it's getting the page ready, and then everything inside the body is what's visible on the page. So I'm just going to go and save this, and it's saved into a folder that I've called basic page, and I'm going to save it as index.html, and we always call our home page of a web page index. This is so that the browser can recognize it as the home page. Now that it's saved, I want to preview it in a browser. Now, just bear in mind here that we've got HTML tags, head tags, and body tags, but we've not actually put anything on the page yet. So when I preview this, it should look pretty empty. And it does. It's just a blank white page. So now to show you why we break things up, let's actually start to add some content to both our head and our body. First thing I'm going to put into my head tags is this thing called a title. And the title of the page can be thought of as little text that's in the top tab of a page. So sometimes on a web page you'll see some text in the tab here, or maybe along the top if this was a browser. And I'm going to call this my first web page. And I will save this again using this big save button. And I'm going to preview this again in Firefox. So now you'll notice that was in the head, so there's nothing visible on the page, but up here in this tab it says my first web page. So now let's put something into the body of the HTML, remembering the body is whatever is going to be visible on the page. Let's first put actually let's just put one paragraph of text. So paragraph tag, which is angle brackets P angle brackets, and then a closing paragraph tag, which is angle brackets / P angle brackets. And I'm just going to type, this is my first paragraph, full stop. Now, some people suggest that you don't need these head tags and the body tags, and you don't need to close off your P tags. I think it's important for beginners to do this. I think it's important that we do actually have a head and closing head, and a body and closing body. Not so much for the validity of the page, but more so to help the person who's creating the page to understand what's going on where. So this is more for the user than it is for the browser. So I'm going to save this again, and this time inside my body, between these two body tags, I've got a paragraph pair of tags, and this paragraph pair of tags should appear, this paragraph in between these tags should appear on my web page. So I'm going to run this now in Firefox, and you'll see now it says this is my first paragraph. So that's basically why we separate the head and the body out. Hopefully you understand now a little bit about why we do that, and in our subsequent video we'll start looking at some of the different heading tags.